Sorry about that. Kind of disappeared on y'all. I want to get into a consistent flow of making fragrance content. But when you get sick, whether it be a flu or some type of cold, you can't smell anything. It kind of set me back a little bit on what I wanted to do. But in my sickness and in my fragrance journey, funny story. We all like a good story, right? And the thing about fragrances, it's not exactly the smell of the fragrance that you are reminded of. It's more of the journey that the fragrance takes you on. So this one is funny to me. Making this video is funny to me. So while I was sick, I got a phone call. I pick up the phone. I think it's my brother. I think it's my brother because a name pops up. But it's actually my father. And he calls and he's laughing. And by his laugh, I'm like, I guess this isn't my brother. He got the same name. Go figure. And he tells me that he found my videos on doing colognes here on YouTube. Now I'm laughing. And I'm laughing because, again, story time. And I got some fragrances here that we're going to talk about, but story time. Let me do this. So I laughed because a bit of my YouTube journey, I started years ago. 2011 I started. And back in those days, I kind of didn't really want to tell people that I knew personally that I was doing YouTube. Not over fear or shyness or anything like that. But one thing that you learn quickly when you're doing content creation is that the people that you know personally aren't all that interested in what you're interested in. And even if they are, their minds change and they start wanting to watch different things, and it's not particularly your content. And you don't want to feel a way about them not watching your content because you don't want to feel as though they're not supporting you. It's not the case. They just have different interests, and that's fine. So to remove myself from that, I don't really tell anybody about my content in my personal life. But I do find it hilarious anytime they come to me and tell me that they found my videos. I find it hilarious because they're like, that's you? Because it's like they get to experience a different side of me that they don't normally see. And being in front of camera, being in front of people, it's almost like the tale of two different people. I mean, I think that I'm me. I probably talk more here. Not saying that I'm a mute in person. I do speak in person, but I don't know. It's like I said when I first started doing YouTube, and I tell people this all the time, anybody that wants to start content creation, the first rule of thumb is you got to be you times 2. That's kind of what I am here. So he tells me that he found my channel, and one thing I do remember about my father is that he was into scents. Back then he was more into the oils, and I didn't tell him this one, but I do remember in my early 20s, I want to say early to mid 20s, I remember he had took me to a spot where over in Newark, New Jersey, took me to a spot where a guy had all of these oils, and he just, you know, grabbing oils, you know, getting me some oils. And still at that time, I wasn't fully into I wasn't even into fragrances at that time, but I took one and I appreciated it. But I didn't remember it, but I remembered the gesture. And that right there is what I mean when I say the fragrance journey isn't about the actual fragrance. It's not about the scent, but it's about the memory that it creates. All of these fragrances that I have can smell like absolutely nothing, but if I have a story to tell from each of them, that's the benefit of the fragrance that I personally like the most. Now, granted, at the moment, that scent is going to create that memory. Ooh. It's going to create a moment for you, and you'll remember that. That's the journey. So he gave me some samples. He gave me these and he said, all right, here you go. You got some work to do. And I'm like, bro, I got all of these fragrances I got to go. I just started doing my content on fragrances. I have bottles upon bottles upon bottles that I got to get through. But he said, here you go. You got some work to do. You got more to go. And these are fragrances that one of them I've smelled before, and I'm going to talk about it here. Matter of fact, I'll tell you which ones he gave me. Ooh, don't want them to fall. I'll tell you which ones he gave me. He gave me Hacivat, and I'm going to start with this because this is the star of the show. Nishane's Hacivat. Kind of makes me mad that I got Ani over Hacivat. Stupid me. Vertus Vanilla Oud gave me Dior Elixir, which I am familiar with. I'm going to talk about that one in this video. Gave me More Than Words from Xerjoff. I'm going to talk about that one in this video. Gave me Xerjoff 1888. Not going to talk about that one in this video. That's going to be in a future video. Gives me Gritty Netcom Arabs. We'll talk about that. What you notice, the trend that you're going to notice here is a lot of oud. Old man likes oud. And this one isn't labeled, but he made sure to remind me that it was Tiziana Terenzi's Gold Rose Oud. We are not going to talk about that one in this video. All right, so let's start with the star of the show. I made sure to give these a full day wear. I didn't get through all of them in full day wear, but I got through these three of these in a full day wear. Dior Elixir I was familiar with, so I didn't need a full day wear with that one. Let me start with Hacivat. Bro, the moment I smelled this, angry at myself, because I want to say, I think it was in 2023, so I want to say about 2 years ago, I was weighing my options on which fragrance to buy, because I was getting Creed's Windflowers for my mother, and I wanted to just grab something for myself just to throw it in there. And I was like, all right, do I go with Nishane's Ani? Do I go with Nishane's Hacivat? You know, and I'm like, all right, I already have, because it's like, they say that it's in the vein of Creed's Aventus, right? The OG Creed Aventus. Now, I already had Club de Nuit's Intense Man, so I had an idea of what I thought that it would smell like. And I've already had a couple of bottles of that. So I'm like, you know, I just for the sake of, you know, not having redundancy, let me go with the Ani, right? It was more of a spicy, just isn't about that. I'll review that fragrance in its own video, but it was different than what I had. So I decided to go with that because I thought that the Hacivat would be kind of in the same vein of the Creed Aventus. Boy, was I wrong. Wrong. You do get a little bit of the vibe of the OG Creed Aventus because it does have the OG Creed Aventus is known for that smoky pineapple vibe, right? With the bergamot and the blackcurrant. It's known for that vibe. But this Hacivat, bro, this Hacivat is exactly what I wanted when I think of the OG Creed. It's what I wanted when I think of how I wanted it to smell. And that's because of the oak moss. Oh my God. That oak moss, that patchouli, the woodiness, it's like the pineapple is faintly there. That pineapple is there to just remind you that, hey, there is some sweetness to it. But just that natural vibe that you get from that oak moss, it's like, I think the oak moss is what gives you that smoky, incensey vibe, but it's not an incense note in there. But I believe that it's from the oak moss because the oak moss is the most dominant note in there. It's like overwhelming almost with the patchouli. That patchouli, it's hitting my nose. It hits my nose. So here's a memory I can create. Imagine you're going through the woods, right? And you hit an area where there's a little bit of a swamp, not a nasty, filthy swamp, but just a swamp area. It's damp. It's damp right there in the middle of the woods. And you're like, all right, I'm not going to step in that because I'm going to get my shoes wet. Not saying there's a big old swamp there, but you just don't want to step in that damp spot because you might be wearing some fresh ones or something. I don't know. Maybe you work for WWE. So that slight dampness gives it a little bit of, not aquatic, but a little bit of a wetness, a wet vibe to it. I think that comes from that oak moss, but that pineapple is just there enough to remind you that it's there. That's the best way that I could explain that. It's the best way. Maybe the grapefruit adds along to that watery vibe that comes with it. And again, it's not a heavy watery, it's just small, minute little details that when you put them together, they formulate this masterpiece in Hacivat. See, now I'm telling myself I got to smell the Hacivat X. I got to see what that smells like. Some people say that it smells better. I looked at reviews. Some people say that it's not as strong. It doesn't perform as well. I like the performance on this Hacivat. And the beautiful thing about these samples he gave me, he's had these for a while. So there is no need for me to wait for these to macerate and see what they're going to do in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. No. These are what they are. And the very first spray, I Joe my shop, put it right in the bag. Right in the bag. I have to get this. Now, the price on it has gone up. The price on it has gone up since a couple years ago, but that is gorgeous. That's gorgeous, bro. I just had to talk about that. I had to get that out of the way. That's the star of the show. Not saying like it's by miles in the way. It's good. It's good. Let's get Dior Elixir out of the way. And yes, I am a Colts fan for anybody that's wondering. Normally, I wear so many different hats. You never know what team is my team. I'm a Colts fan. For those of you who know, you know. Hey, how you doing? Dior Elixir. When I first smelled Dior Elixir, and this could be because I've had all of the other Diors, Dior Sauvages, I'm saying Dior Elixir. Sauvage Elixir. Since I smelled the other Sauvages, I kind of had a preconceived notion in my mind as to what this Sauvage Elixir was supposed to smell like when it first came out a couple years ago. So I find myself in Sephora, and this is before the bottles blew up to the price that they are now, because they weren't as expensive as they are now. So I'll go into Sephora like, let me smell it, and then, I'll go on to the discounters and grab a bottle there. I sprayed on, and it was just like instant, just the instant bang of spice. Just, how, like, let's say that you got, this happened to me. Let's say you have oil boiling on the stove, and you get a pound of ground meat. You get a pound of ground beef, and you just slap it in that oil. Bang! That actually happened to me in the 8th grade. I put ground beef in oil. It exploded in my face, and I had to go to school with scars all over my face. They thought I was being abused. And I had to wear them scars on my face for a few weeks. It looked crazy. And it was during basketball season. I couldn't hide it with football season and wearing a helmet. Nope. Everybody got to see it. Anyway, that's what you get when you spray on that Dior Elixir, that Sauvage Elixir for the first time, expecting something. And it's like you drop it in there, boom, spice just explodes. Spice. And it was a little bit off-putting for me, and it could be because it wasn't what I was expecting. Very, very spicy. Nutmeg, I get a little bit of it, but what you really get is that woody licorice note. And I'm not talking about licorice like Twizzler licorice, but where the actual note of the licorice scent comes from, like the woody part of it, not the sweet. Like, I don't get any sweetness in this Sauvage Elixir. Very, very spicy, also fresh and spicy. So it's weird because it's like warm, spicy, but it also smells fresh, but still spicy at the exact same time. This one is hard to paint a picture of because there is a bit of a lavender note in there that gives it a bit of florals. There's a bit of florals in it from the lavender note. The amber that's in it, oh my God, now it's gotten really, really fresh. Almost powdery like. I think it's that vetiver that's coming through. And I like vetiver a lot. And there's also sandalwood in here that's really smoothing it out on the dry down. I sprayed these about an hour ago. Oh, wow. I might have to change my mind on it. Because the freshness is now pushing through it really, really strong. And I'm getting the vetiver and I'm getting the sandalwood from that. And sandalwood is my favorite note. So, I don't know. Might have to revisit that Dior Elixir. I don't know if I'm going to buy a full bottle. It's expensive. But I like it. I like it a lot. I just had to mature my senses of fragrances. Just had to. So now let's get into Vertus Vanilla Oud. First, let's get into the notes. Let's get into the notes because there's a lot of them. On the top, we got saffron, apple, rhubarb, and bergamot. When I first sprayed this out, I got the bergamot and I got a little bit of the apple just to add just that sweet, just a slight sweetness to the opening. Slight sweetness to the opening. Middle notes, cashmere woods, rose, jasmine, violet, and some type of flower. I don't know what that flower is. I ain't never seen it in my life. But I will say the top notes kind of went away quickly. That cashmere wood is what I got. And the vanilla just shot straight up. The vanilla shot straight up into that. It wasn't on the first initial spray, but it just as soon as it, like when the mist went away, the vanilla just, which I love because I love when the fragrance can be smooth. When it smooths and mellows itself out, that's where I'm like, I buy in. I buy in on that. But then the oud came through, and it's not a strong, skanky, super woody oud. It's just enough oud to let you know, hey, I am here. Hello, how you doing? To give you that strong woody effect. I actually almost smell more Gaiac wood in here than the oud wood that's in here. In the base notes, we get vanilla, agarwood, caramel, tonka bean, sandalwood, my favorite of course, Gaiac wood, cedar, patchouli, musk, vetiver. That is a lot of notes in the base. But what I will say is the ones that predominantly stand out to me is that vanilla stays all the way throughout. There's a little bit of caramel along with the tonka bean to give it that sweetness to it. But I get more Gaiac wood than agarwood. And the agarwood it's oud, it's kind of oudy. But there's also musk that's in there that kind of carries it as well. It kind of blends it all together that I like. I like this vanilla oud a lot because, I mean, if y'all know me, you like a nice little lounge wear. This is more of a fall fragrance. Can you wear it in the daytime? You can. You can wear it when it's cooler. Can you wear it in the summertime? You can when there's a breeze. Now, if you're in a city or a state or a country where it's super hot, you might not want to tap into it because some of that vanilla can pump. It can pump. This is a long lasting fragrance, at least on my skin. I got probably 7 hours. I don't know. I ended up falling asleep and I woke up and I could still do this and smell it, but I had to press my face up against my hand and I could smell it. And it was still there, which is good. That's some good stuff, man. That's some good stuff. That tonka bean and vanilla is right there, but it's woody enough just to remind you that, but I don't get woody, oudy from it. I get more of a smooth vanilla, but like with all of these different facets combined together, I think it works well. I threw that in the cart too. I ain't gonna lie to you. And now this one is a weird one for me. Xerjoff's More Than Words. This one is a weird one for me. I'm actually wearing it today. Let's take a look at the notes in Xerjoff's More Than Words. You got more agarwood. Like I said, the guy loves oud. You got fruity notes, floral notes, oriental notes, ambergris, woody notes, elabium, and labdamin. I said it right. Just do it in 1.5 speed. It's going to flow together. Trust me. So I don't have anything that's these combination of notes, right? I don't have any fragrances that have oriental notes in them, whatever that's supposed to be. But I'll tell you what I get from this. And I have two fragrances that this reminds me of. One is middle of the road in price. The other one is cheap. If it's still cheap, I don't know. I got it when it was cheap. I get oud, but more of a floral oud. It's a lot more floral than oudy, but that oudy is there just to it's like taking some flowers and sitting them on a bed of wood. You take some flowers, and you sit them right on the bed of wood. Now, is it like a oud slab of wood? Not necessarily. It's not that super strong, standout, overpowering oud. It's not that. It's just woody. But that woodiness stays there throughout it. But it's more of the base. It's more of which everything lies on. I really get the florals in it. But it's also kind of dark. It feels kind of leathery. And the two fragrances that I have that it reminds me of is John Varvatos Dark Rebel, which is a super leather scent, very, very dark, slight touch of florals. The other one is Francesca Bianchi's Dark Side. And that one is dark leather, woody, but mostly leather. Like if you just take an expensive leather jacket, right? Whatever the Fonz was wearing with his collar pop like these. So you take that leather or new car smell leather and you just darken it up and smell it. That's what that Francesca Bianchi's Dark Side smells like. This reminds me of both of those, but the florals are there. Now, it feels like it's something that's going to be long lasting because I sprayed it a while ago, and the more I do this, I keep getting wafts. Anytime I think it goes away, it just reminds me, pal, hey, I'm back. Like, it just won't go away. And I sprayed this on maybe 4 or 5 hours ago so that I could get, like, a wear out of it. And it just won't go away. It's not intrusive. It's not overbearing. I want to say that first 2 hours, it was strong. Then it died down to a skin scent, and it just keeps reminding you, hey, I'm here. And it gives you the florals. It gives you the woody. Did I just say that? It gives you the, let's say oud. It gives you the oud, but it gives you a leather vibe. I don't know where the leather vibe comes from because there's no leather note that's in there. I'm looking at it now to see what could combine to make leather. Could it be the Oriental and the Olabium 1.5 speed, and it's going to make sense. It could be the combination of those that gives it the leathery vibe, but that's what I get when I smell this. Is it something that I would buy? No, but it's because I have the other two fragrances that it reminds me of. Like when I think of Xerjoff, the only other Xerjoff that I smelled was 40 knots, and I absolutely love it. But since I already have something in the vein of this, what is it? More Than Words, I wouldn't necessarily have a reason or a need. Let me say a need to buy that. Not saying that those other two fragrances are clones of that, because I don't think that they are, but they are similar enough for me to be like, all right, and besides, I wouldn't really wear that too much anyway. I wouldn't know when to wear it. I mean, you could wear it whenever, more so in the cold weathers, because again, it's oud. You would want to wear it in the cooler weathers, but not my vibe per se. Unless I'm wearing a leather jacket. If I'm wearing a leather jacket, got me a scarf on, and not a scarf because it's cold, but a scarf on some fashion-y, then yeah, I will wear it then, because it's going to really make your leather pop. I'm going to do the other 3 samples that he gave me in a future video. I am enjoying getting my nose on new scents. I have a bit of a battle coming up between these two guys. I should have mentioned this in the beginning of the video. Vulcan's Fey, I still can't say it right, and Septre Malachite, they got a clash. The two mangoes, the two clones of God of Fire. I gotta tell y'all about them because I love them both. I can see how they could be the same, but they do go in different directions. Gonna make a video on that soon. I gotta make a video on this. Y'all probably don't know about this. Y'all probably have never heard about this. Lattafa's Masa from the Pride line just recently came out. I have to make a video on it because I hear the praise of it. They say it's a Ganymede. It's inspired by Ganymede, and I've never smelled Ganymede. but I've smelled this. Anyway, before I go, tell me, did he lace me with some flyness? Did he lace me with some good stuff? I don't know. I don't know. These are all new to my nose, except for the Elixir. These are new to my nose. Some of the brands I never even heard of. That's a lie. I've heard of Xerjoff. I've heard of Tiziana Terenzi. Gritty I've never heard of. Elixir I have. Vertus I haven't. And Nishane, I heard of the brand, just not the fragrances. So, did he lace me? Did he give me some fly stuff? Should I ask him to go back in his closet and dig out some more samples for me to jump on? That's going to be for him to decide. But for this video, that's all I have. You enjoy the rest of your day.